Imagine waking up tomorrow morning to an emergency alert on your phone. Not a weather warning, not an Amber Alert. A message that changes everything. National emergency. Seek immediate shelter. Your hands shake as you turn on the news, and there it is, the words no one ever wanted to hear. World War III has begun. What would you do in the next 60 seconds? The next hour? The next 24 hours? Most people have no plan. And in a scenario like this, the decisions you make in the first day could mean the difference between life and death. Today, I'm breaking down the 7 critical actions you must take in the first 24 hours of World War III, based on real military preparedness protocols and survival experts. Let's get into it. Before we dive into the 7 steps, let's establish what we're actually dealing with here. Modern warfare isn't like the world wars of the past. We're talking about a conflict that could involve cyber attacks that shut down power grids and communication networks, potential nuclear threats, even if not immediately deployed drone warfare, and precision strikes on critical infrastructure. Economic collapse as supply chains break down, instantly mass panic as millions of people try to evacuate simultaneously. The first 24 hours are absolute chaos. Misinformation spreads faster than facts. Store shelves empty in hours. Gas stations run dry. Cell networks become overloaded. This is why having a clear action plan isn't just smart, it's essential. So what do you actually do? Let's break it down step by step. The moment you receive confirmation that WW3 has started, your first action is information gathering, but you need to be smart about it. In the age of social media, misinformation can spread in seconds, causing unnecessary panic or, worse, causing you to make the wrong decisions. Here's what you do. Tune into official sources only. Turn on your television or radio to government channels. Think FEMA, emergency broadcast systems, or official military announcements. In the US, that's stations displaying the emergency alert system. In the UK, it's BBC News. Every country has designated emergency broadcasting. Check official government websites and apps. Many countries now have emergency alert apps. Download these now if you haven't already. FEMA app in the US, Gov.uk alerts in the UK, and similar systems worldwide. Identify the type of threat. Is this conventional warfare in a distant region? Is there an imminent nuclear threat? Are we talking about cyber warfare affecting infrastructure? The nature of the threat determines your next moves. If there's a nuclear component, your actions in the next few hours are radically different than if this is a conventional conflict overseas. Determine your proximity to targets. Military bases, major cities, ports, government buildings, and critical infrastructure are primary targets. If you live near any of these, your threat level is significantly higher. A rural farmhouse in Montana faces different risks than an apartment in Washington, D.C. You have maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour before the information landscape becomes completely chaotic. Use this window wisely. Don't doomscroll Twitter. Don't panic call everyone you know and jam up the phone lines. Get your facts straight first. Step 2. Once you understand what you're dealing with, your next priority is immediate safety. This isn't the time to be heroic or curious. This is the time to think about shelter. If there's a nuclear threat, get inside immediately. Fallout can begin within 15 minutes of a nuclear detonation. You need to be indoors, away from windows, preferably in a basement or the center of a building. The more concrete and earth between you and the outside, the better. This isn't optional. Radiation exposure in the first hours is the most dangerous. Prepare your home as a shelter. Close all windows and doors. Turn off ventilation systems that pull in outside air. This includes HVAC systems, bathroom fans, and attic vents. Seal gaps under doors with wet towels. If you have duct tape and plastic sheeting, now's the time to use them to seal off one room as your shelter space. Know your evacuation routes, but don't use them yet. Here's the counterintuitive part. Unless you're given specific evacuation orders, the first 24 hours are generally not the time to hit the road. Highways become parking lots. Accidents pile up. You're exposed and vulnerable. Shelter in place unless authorities specifically tell you to leave or your home is in an immediate blast zone. Account for all family members. If your kids are at school, your spouse is at work, you need a communication plan. Many families establish rally points, a predetermined location to meet if communication goes down. If phones still work, send one text to everyone. Stay where you are, I'll contact you in 30 minutes. Then actually follow up. The goal here is simple. Be somewhere safe, not exposed, with the ability to wait out the initial chaos. Step 3. Here's something most people don't realize. In a major conflict, water systems can become contaminated or shut down within hours. Whether from infrastructure damage, cyber attacks, or fear of biological/chemical contamination, water is your first survival priority. Fill every container you have. Bathtubs, sinks, pots, buckets, empty soda bottles. Fill them all. A standard bathtub holds about 80 gallons of water. That's 40 days of drinking water for one person, or 13 days for a family of 3. Do this before you do almost anything else, because water pressure may drop or stop entirely. Treat your water if necessary. If you suspect contamination, boiling water for 1 minute kills most biological threats. Water purification tablets or a few drops of unscented chlorine bleach, 8 drops per gallon, let it sit for 30 minutes, can also disinfect water. But collection comes first. You can always purify later. Don't assume bottled water will be available. By the time you think to go to the store, it's already too late. Grocery stores will be emptied of water within 2 to 3 hours of a major emergency. Same with gas stations and convenience stores. The human body can survive 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. In a crisis, water is currency. It's medicine. It's survival. Secure it first. Step 4. With water secured, your next focus is supplies. But this isn't about hoarding. It's about strategic gathering of what you'll actually need to survive the next 2 to 4 weeks. Prioritize these items. Food that doesn't require refrigeration or cooking. Canned goods, peanut butter, crackers, dried fruits, energy bars, rice, pasta. If the power grid goes down, which is likely in any major conflict, your refrigerator becomes useless within 24 hours. Assume you'll need to eat everything without electricity. Medical supplies. First aid kits, prescription medications. If possible, get emergency refills now. Pain relievers, bandages, antiseptics. If anyone in your family requires daily medication, this becomes critical. You need at least a 30-day supply. Lighting and communication. Flashlights, batteries, candles, a battery-powered or hand-crank radio. That radio is crucial. It may be your only source of information if internet and cell networks go down. Hygiene supplies. Toilet paper, soap, feminine hygiene products, trash bags. Disease spreads quickly in unsanitary conditions, even in your own home. Cash. ATMs won't work without power. Credit card systems go down. You need physical cash in small denominations, 20s, 10s, 5s, 1s. Important documents. Passports, birth certificates, insurance papers, medical records. Keep them in a waterproof bag. If you need to evacuate later, you'll need proof of identity. If stores are still accessible and somewhat orderly, make one trip. Go with a list. Be quick. Be respectful to others. Don't take everything. Take what you need. In crisis situations, communities that cooperate survive better than those that descend into chaos. Step 5. When infrastructure starts failing, communication becomes incredibly difficult. Cell towers get overloaded, internet goes down, power outages kill Wi-Fi. You need backup plans. Designate an out-of-area contact. Choose a relative or friend who lives far from your location, different state, different country. In disasters, it's often easier to call long distance than locally because you're not competing with local network congestion. Everyone in your family should know to check in with this person. Use text messages over phone calls. Texts use far less bandwidth and are more likely to go through when networks are strained. Keep messages short, safe. At home, we'll update in 6 hours. Establish check-in times. Agree that everyone will attempt contact at specific times, say noon and 6 p.m. This prevents constant calling that drains phone batteries and jams networks. Conserve phone battery like your life depends on it, because it might. Turn off all unnecessary apps. Lower screen brightness. Switch to airplane mode when not actively communicating. A phone that lasts 5 days is infinitely more valuable than one that dies in 6 hours. Know your neighbors. If digital communication fails, physical proximity matters. That neighbor you've awkwardly waved to for 3 years? Now's the time to actually talk. Share information. Look out for elderly or disabled neighbors who might need help. In past disasters, from 9/11 to Hurricane Katrina, one of the biggest sources of anxiety was not knowing if loved ones were safe. Don't let that be your family. Step 6. The first 24 hours are about immediate survival. But smart preparation means thinking beyond today. World War III wouldn't be over in a day or even a week. You need to mentally and practically prepare for extended disruption. Assume supply chains are broken. No more Amazon deliveries. No grocery store restocks. No gas tankers arriving at stations. What you have is what you get for potentially weeks or months. Plan for no electricity. Power grids are prime targets in modern warfare. Even if your area isn't directly attacked, interconnected grids mean problems anywhere can cause blackouts everywhere. How will you cook? How will you stay warm or cool? How will you get information? Consider heat sources carefully. If it's winter, hypothermia is a real threat. But be extremely careful with alternative heating. More people die from improper use of generators, charcoal grills indoors, and fire hazards than from the cold itself. Never use outdoor equipment indoors due to carbon monoxide poisoning. Protect your supplies. In extended crises, theft and desperation increase. Don't advertise what you have. Keep curtains closed at night so your lights don't show you have power when others don't. Be discreet about your preparedness. Maintain sanitation. If water stops flowing, toilets stop working. You'll need to establish waste disposal methods. Bucket toilets with trash bags and kitty litter can work. This sounds unpleasant, but unsanitary conditions cause disease, and disease can be as deadly as any bomb. Stay informed, but don't obsess. Check news at designated times. Every 6 to 12 hours is sufficient. Constantly monitoring bad news drains your mental health and your battery. You need to stay emotionally stable for decision-making. The mindset shift here is crucial. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Ration not just your supplies, but your energy and emotional resilience. Step 7. Here's the final and perhaps most important step. You cannot survive alone. Human beings are social creatures, and in crisis, communities that work together dramatically improve everyone's chances of survival. Connect with neighbors immediately. Form a neighborhood watch or mutual aid group. Share skills. Maybe you know first aid. Someone else can fix generators. Another person was a chef. Pool knowledge and resources strategically. Establish security awareness without paranoia. Be aware of your surroundings. Lock doors and windows. But don't become hostile to everyone outside your immediate circle. Most people in crisis want the same things you do: safety, information, and help for their families. Share critical information. If you learn about distribution centers for food and water, share it. If you hear about evacuation routes opening, tell others. Information shared is information that saves lives. Look after vulnerable populations. Elderly neighbors, families with small children, people with disabilities. These groups need extra support. Check on them. Offer help. It's not just moral, it's practical. Communities that protect their vulnerable members maintain social cohesion, which matters when everything else is falling apart. Maintain routines and morale. This sounds small, but it's huge. Play games with your kids. Tell stories. Maintain meal times as much as possible. Humans need normalcy and structure, especially in chaos. The psychological benefit of routine cannot be overstated. Know when to be generous and when to be cautious. This is a delicate balance. Helping others is important, but not at the expense of your family's survival. You can't pour from an empty cup. Be strategic about assistance. Remember, in every major disaster in human history, the communities that survived best weren't the ones with the most weapons or the biggest bunkers. They were the ones that maintained their humanity and worked together. So there you have it, the 7 critical actions to take in the first 24 hours of World War III. Assess the threat level immediately through official channels. Secure your immediate safety and shelter. Secure water before anything else. Gather emergency supplies and food strategically. Establish communication protocols with loved ones. Prepare mentally and practically for long-term disruption. Build community and mutual support networks. Here's the reality. We all hope this scenario never happens. But hope isn't a strategy. The people who survive disasters aren't lucky. They're prepared. They're calm. They have a plan. And now, you have one too. The goal isn't to live in fear. The goal is to be the person who doesn't panic because you've already thought through what to do. Knowledge removes fear. Preparation creates options. And options save lives. If you found this video valuable, share it with people you care about. Hit that subscribe button because I'll be releasing more content on emergency preparedness and survival strategies. And drop a comment below. What's your biggest concern if a major global conflict broke out? What would you do first? I'll see you in the next video.